Okay, I'm going to phone Gordon Bowden. Gordon, how you doing? How you doing, mate? I'm sorry to phone you at such a late night.
On this date, so we normally give them half an hour, but it's just a bit of an overrun.
Yeah, okay. I know you're a busy man. I know you're a busy man. Introduce myself. I'm Danny Jones. I don't know if you looked me up or not. I'm just a guy who sort of was in the conspiracy world about 10 years ago, and I jumped out of it.
It's a big world, isn't
It is. It's just surprising when you jump out, you realise what's going on behind the scenes. You think, wow, I didn't know they were involved. Didn't know this was involved. So it's pretty shocking for me.
World.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I don't know what Finchley Road's really all about, and I thought I'm not going to keep looking at all these videos and looking up things. I'd rather just ask the man himself, what the hell is Finchley Road about? You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you. As short as I can make, 18 years. But my missus got done over in a capital venture fraud, all her life savings through her family broker.
Right.
And we sent 2 attorneys of law to do the money trail. They did a full diagnostics of where the money went, who took it, and how it was transferred, and where the companies were launched involved in that fraud.
Is this the Rock Hopper or something company?
No.
Oh, right.
It was Y7 Management Corporation and another one that came out of an accountant's at 5 Harley Place, Harley Street. So that's where the 2 attorneys of law did the money trail.
Yeah.
However, they didn't look any deeper than get all the suspects and try to do a civil recovery.
Right.
Then what happened was, because they found out there were more than one victim, it became a criminal case, as is fraud.
Yeah.
Once you identify there's more than one victim, it doesn't become a civil recovery, it becomes a police criminal investigation.
Right.
So the 2 attorneys of law, after 18 months of going through the civil recovery, he said, she said, they got it, we haven't got it. We launched a criminal case with the South African anti-corruption police called the Scorpions.
Right, I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
Yeah, they had it for 18 months, and then they called me down to their Fleet Street office and said the intelligence services had taken all the files and they'd lost them on the way to Pretoria. So I said, "What? You've lost a room full of files?
Yeah, right.
On the way to Pretoria, and you can't find them?" No. He said, "Fuck off, white boy."
Wow. Okay.
And then he pulled his sidearm out, a 9mm, and stuck it in my face.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that, can you?
No. Well, I carried a 9mm all my life, a Browning parallel.
Yeah, because you was in the RAF, was you not? Is that right?
Yeah, but as I said, I was a marksman in the RAF to earn an extra £5 a month.
Right, yeah. But back then was a lot of money, wasn't it? £5 a month back then.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I didn't shit myself. I just walked away.
Right.
And I started to do my own inquiry. And I found out that the people that were named in the dossier were old apartheid intelligence officers. Wow. Very senior ones. And also linked to the CCB. That's the Civil Cooperation Bureau. Okay. So this wasn't a general fraud. Yeah. This was quite a high-rated network of real big shitheads.
Yeah.
To the South African
gangsters, basically.
So I brought in an old mate of mine, his son. He was Christian Botha. He was South Africa's best private investigator. He was the son of an ex-policeman that I knew. And he got me some paperwork, what they call an RTC search, which is the employment history of the individuals named in the dossier. And then I found out that the head of the Scorpions was working with some of the people named in the document, so I knew why it was a stitch-up.
Right.
So then I took it to the Special Investigations Unit, which is the normal police. They looked at it and they said, Christ, we'll take this. And it must have scared the shit out of them, because the head of the South African police, his name was Jackie Selebe, he was head of Interpol.
Right.
And he made himself head of Interpol with money from the very same people who were named in the dossiers. So I knew we were going to go nowhere there.
Yeah, high up. One, yeah.
And then in 2004, I had a phone call saying, for your own health, best you get out of this country and piss off back to the UK.
Asking too many questions, was you basically?
Well, I was stepping on some very big toes.
Yeah, yeah.
Even leaders of the ANC, the African National Congress.
Yeah, I mean, Africa is different. It's called gangsters, isn't it, and warlords and stuff. So you don't really want to.
Yeah, well, as I said, my military career taught me well. I worked with nuclear weapons, and as I said, I worked at the frontline bases in Germany, and I worked with the weapons unit, which was laser-guided weapons, conventional weapons, and nuclear, which gave me access and handling. So, as I said, my security clearance was second to none. However, there was a strange caller came to our restaurant door, and he stuck his head through the sliding door, and he said, Mynheer Bowden, which is Mr. Bowden. And I said, yeah, that's me. And he said, you've really upset a lot of people, powerful people. And I said, well, I don't give a shit. He said, take this file. And it was a secret document. And it named some of the people in the file.
Right.
So I decided to come back to the UK with the missus, and didn't want to upset our children by involving them, because once they can get it, then they can get it.
Yeah. Once you got a family, you got to look at the responsibilities, right, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I've been a reasonably responsible person much of my life. I'm not an angel by any means.
Yeah, none of us are.
I did know who I was fighting, and that's the main military tactic: that know your enemy. So when we came back, went to SO6, met fraud, given the information, and told them people like our friend Sir Mark Thatcher was involved, and they shit themselves.
So you actually went to SO6 then?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I'll skip that question, because that was one of my questions.
At Heathrow, I pulled 6-7 cases and a rucksack on the tube, and got off and went to see SO6. But because Mark Thatcher was named in the file,
right,
as being wined and dined with Mammy by the very people who stole my partner's money, I knew who I was fighting.
Right, okay.
And anyway, so the main two companies that did the theft of my missus and 800 other victims amounted to about $130 million US. That was just South Africa. Right. So there were many countries that were involved in the same scam. And how many hundreds of thousands of victims, I don't know. And the total amount, I could only guess, was massive. So then I started to do my own digging, and the two companies were actually through a auditors at 5 Harley Place called Smallfield Cody & Co. Smallfield Secretaries. There were multiple variations. And the two companies originated out of 788, 790 Finchley Road. That's where they originated.
788, 790 Finchley Road, which is obviously to the Finchley Road. That's the main address where these companies were come from. Is that what happened? Is it?
Yeah, that was the origin, the epicenter of the fraud.
Right.
And it was when I started to look deeper into the formation agents operating there that I started to pick up the big names that used it. And that was Tony Blair, Amber Augusta Rudd, David Mackenzie, Donald Mills, the husband of Tessa Joe, the late Tessa Joe, Silvero Berlusconi, the Mafia. Yeah. They all used that address as a conduit address, which was also, because I named these people in 2006 when we came back. However, from that address, they moved money to the Panama through Mossack Fonseca.
Okay. Did you ever discover who was the address of 7879? Who was a broker who was
Yes,
running it?
yeah.
You've got all that,
Because
yeah.
Smallfield Cody and Co. actually they were launched at the 78879. So I had the system then.
Right.
So what I did was I looked at how many companies were formed out of that address. It was 209,000 shell companies.
Yeah, that's obviously you'd grabbing big bits of data there. I mean, how can you pull? When someone told me that, I think it was yourself on your video. So I'm thinking,
Yeah,
205,000. You must be finding
209.
200. Well, I looked at it. It was
209,000.
205 when I said. I was like, well, I could have misheard it, but either way, I'm thinking 200,000. That's like one every 5 minutes. So somehow
Yeah, well,
it couldn't have been that way, could it? It must be a different way you found them.
no, that's how I found them. So what I started to do was look at some of the companies and some of the directors and executives to find out the international links to senior politicians in our country.
Right.
As an ex-serviceman and as a veteran, that made my blood boil to understand what thieving pieces of shit that we have running our country.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me, not just to get justice for the missus, but to try to get justice for everybody who has got no understanding of what this jewel of humanity is all about. This piece of shit that we call, the God-saving country of the world. Trust me, as a serviceman, it made my blood boil.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's how I latched onto that address, and then I found out the people that were running it were also running other addresses like Ascot House, Winnington House. That when I traced them, they were also linked to like Rick Gates, the bagman for Paul Manafort and Donald Trump.
Okay.
So it goes a lot
deep,
deeper.
yeah.
So as I said, then I found out people like Poju Chain Zabladowicz, who is a major Tory funder, an Israeli arms dealer. And say when you find Mohammed Adnan Khashoggi and Tony Blair, this is the shit that runs this country.
Yeah, I think most people know that the politicians have got their hands into things they shouldn't have, it like buy-offs and donations that they shouldn't be getting. Definitely.
So as I said, is that once I understood the mechanisms of how they were running it and moving the shell companies to other addresses, I then started to build a plan up, and that goes from about 2007 to 2009. I built up a diagram of all the conduit addresses in the UK, like 44 Upper Belgrave Road, Clifton, Bristol, 5 Jupiter House, Calaver Park, Quadrant House, 464 Thomas More Square, London. That's how I built up the addresses. Do you understand?
Yeah.
To understand how they can conduit companies to different addresses and move the money then to offshore, which was picked up in the Panama Papers.
So is that was it classed as laundering? That is, they're moving money around, I presume.
It's money laundering, either for the rich and famous or the dirty people, even linked to the senior political parties of this country. So that's basic.
Yeah, I'm a lot more informed now of what actually Finchley Road 788-790 actually means. To be honest with you, I'm more informed. So I'm glad you've told me all that. I mean, the nuts and cranny. You started this because your partner got ripped off. Basically, that's why you started.
Yeah, I mean, it was a chance, a chance happening for me. But when I saw the people who were actually involved, one guy was a guy called Nico Sheffer.
Yeah.
And he's a right dirtbag. He was a convicted bank robber. He worked with the same people named in the documents. Do you understand? So it was understanding when you see a police inquiry board, you see them put the photographs up with the coloured ribbons, etc. I did exactly the same, but using the experience as an engineer in the RAF and then a mining engineer to outlay a know your enemy, how they move the money, and plot and plan something more or less like the hydraulic system of an aircraft, is to be able to see how each component, the directors, the lawyers,
how they all work together.
Everybody works within a system, and they're all taking a cut.
Right.
And that is complicit involvement in massive money laundering.
So I mean, this is probably an obvious question to ask, but have you never been offered then like hush money from any of these big gangsters? You know what I mean?
Yeah, been told to take some money and
shut up,
my
like,
mouth and take it. And then it progressed from there, me telling them to go for a long walk off a short beer.
Yeah. So out of principles and morals, you basically said, fuck off. So, I'm taking to the...
Well, I didn't put a uniform on as a young man. Just
well, fair play to
you.
So
anyway, I then started to look at the mining companies with my mining experience to look at what was being offered on the alternative investment market, which is the AIM.
Yeah.
Its name. And then the companies that I found were linked to the people in our dossier. So, as I said, I found the shit.
Yeah.
And when I found it, there are thousands of fake oil, gas, and mining companies. And they're stealing hundreds of billions.
Still to this day, sort of thing. They haven't stopped enough. They're still doing it right now.
Right now, and that's where we were on Saturday, going to the Investor Roadshow at Queen Elizabeth II. Right. And I scared the shit out of a lot of people.
Well, I can imagine you are. If you've got this sort of evidence to show people, I can imagine people are going to be shitting themselves.
Afrikaans, I can speak Fanagalo, I know what the signal bells are for the banksman when you get in a hoist, with 120 other people. It's because I know what I'm doing, that I can confront the people who purport to be representing a profitable mining company, which when you do the document trail, you'll find out that they run 20 or 30 other companies, which are all cash-gutted, asset-stripped companies.
Yeah,
that's when you see the extent of what I've been trying to expose. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I'm just a very patient man who can see what these pieces of shit have been up to.
Well, I mean,
and what they did.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah. What they're doing is they're stealing from little people who believe the bullshit that these people are putting out.
Yeah.
And place their faith and trust in some of the executives of these companies who end up being lords and MPs.
Right.
So you see.
Yeah.
And I name them.
And they don't like
I'm not scared to name them because they are complicit in defrauding little tiny people.
Right.
And they when you see the consequences of that, and I've witnessed it, I've got people involved now who are now post-traumatic stress, extreme fatigue disease, who have had their family relationships ruined because they lost everything, mortgages gone, houses gone. This is the result of these smart asses who have put up these fake companies in the belief that these people will make money from penny stocks.
Yeah, so they've scammed them out of their savings, basically.
Yeah, and that brings in people like John Winoa.
Yeah. Well, I was going to go on to him. That was one of my questions. Is what do you think about King John Winoa and Andy Devine? I mean, they're the little people to me, but what do you think of them?
The problem arose for me was that when Andy locked onto me about Finchley Road, I said, look, I exist off £300 a month military pension and £85 a week's national pension.
Yeah.
That's what we get. Our rent is 540 quid. So you can imagine what's left.
That's pretty scandalous for a military pension, if you ask me, but that's just my own opinion.
Well, it's because I did 12 years, not 22.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah, half
that was my service contract, 12 years.
Yeah.
And I came out after 12 and was recruited by Goldfields before I left.
Right.
So, as I said, it was a service contract of 12 years. And the reason that I left and didn't sign was because my kids would have gone to boarding school.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would have seen him twice a year.
So you're far from a millionaire, that people are saying. Basically.
I bloody wish. Anyway, okay. So Andy had picked up what I was trying to expose with Finchley Road. And I said, yeah, once we get the camera gear, we can do documentaries about all these companies and the thieving lords and sirs.
Right.
And he said, well, I'll give you the gift. I'll make a donation. And it was unconditional, 20 grand. And it wasn't until I started to get worried when he put I give him a gift of a photograph of a buccaneer coming out of a house.
He used that. Yeah, he put on
the
flag.
Which was dangled on the back of the
flag. It should have been looked at a bit better than sitting on the end of a wall, to be honest with you. I hear what you're saying there. It's a valuable.
Yeah, so I felt greatly proud that he'd taken this gift and for his contribution, where we would use this camera gear. And that's where the money went.
Did he invest that in Pandora Box or invest that in you, Gordon Brown? Gordon Bowden,
Pardon?
sorry. Did he invest that in Pandora's box, or did he invest that into you? Did he give that donation to you?
No, he put it in the company account.
Into Pandora's box account?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is audited and accounted. We've got proper accountants.
Okay.
So I got a bit concerned when I saw the being paralleled with the flag. So I started to look a bit deeper into Andy Winoa and Andy,
King
John
John,
Winoa,
yeah.
and this King's flag. And then I found out, to my amazement, that his company was formed using two variations of his name and the company name.
Yeah.
Which was Mao Powerhouse Group Limited.
Yeah.
Which was compulsory strike-off through non-accounts, I think.
Yeah.
And then he relaunched it out of 7 Berkeley House.
Yeah, Matt Taylor was involved in all that, basically.
Yeah, so Matt Taylor also used his name differently, Matt, M-A-T-T, and Matthew Taylor.
Yeah.
Now, Matthew Taylor is already on a 2-year suspended sentence for Katie Bourne, a court case with Katie Bourne.
Right.
So that doesn't make him a reasonable director.
No,
when
not
it
at all.
comes to, your personal details being on a suspended criminal sentence of 2 years.
Good. Yeah.
So as I said, because of my ability to look at companies and where they're formed, because that's what I'm good at, is that then I looked at Matt Taylor and John Winoa and a guy called Lee Kant.
Yeah.
Well, Lee Kant latched on to us back in 2016 when he came to Master Investor Roadshow in London.
Yeah.
When he contacted me saying, "Oh, I'm interested in this," I said, "Well, come along and I'll give you a brief insight in how you do this."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he brought some sandwiches which he offered round to the other directors, and they were 5 days out of date.
Right, typical.
Yeah, well, I nearly killed one of them.
Well, you should never. That's one thing you should learn is don't trust fuck all from Lee Kant.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so then I found out that he actually ran a company or launched a company using his other affiliate, which is RIX Limited, RIX Ltd, and it's also RIX Limited, LIMITED.
Oh, okay.
So there's two variations of the same network linked to Lee Kant. And when you check Lee Kant's corporate directorships, he's got 4.
Yeah.
And from those 4 evolved over 300 companies in one ID number.
Okay.
And then I found a company called Fast Plan Construction Limited. And it came out of 7 Berkeley House, which is the ground floor flat of Lee Kant in Berkeley House.
Right.
In Wells Street. And the other directors were temple secretaries and company directors, which is out of Finchley Road.
And what was he doing with these companies then? Just laundering
money? Well, he's like a company formations agent, but the same people are linked to the same people who were out of Finchley Road. So as I said, now that's why I said is that that's why I dropped the link to Andy Devine.
Yeah.
Because unless he can see that, unless he's stupid, the very people that he was going to assist us with his camera gear or the financial donation.
Yeah, you're going to go and film them.
It is a double-edged sword. Oh. So that's when I said, I'm sorry, you're being led down the garden path, and I can't have anything to do with your flag. That flag that you're pushing is linked to Lee Kant, who was the business operator to launch John Winoa's company.
And Andy knows this. Andy knows all this, doesn't he?
Well, I put it in a thing there. I put it in a link. And
so
now he's stuck his finger up to me saying I'm a traitor. And No, I didn't take that money. It's gone into the company to expose Finchley Road. And yet his mate, John Winoa, and Matt Taylor and Lee Kant are directly linked to the same people
that you're investigating.
We were going to expose.
Yeah. I got it.
And what it looked like to me was, with him putting that 16 Squadron Buccaneer photograph next to the flag and attach it on the bottom right-hand corner, was I was giving credibility to that flag.
Yeah.
And that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Look, as a responsible company director, is that if you see anything that is dubious, you have a legal duty of care to report it. And I have.
Right.
And
Good.
there's people looking at this right now.
Okay,
so
that's good news.
As I said, I'm not here to run Andy into the ground. It's just I can't have any part of that. He's pushing it, and I'm saying it's dodgy, and he's saying, so what's happening with a man spelling his name wrong? Well, it's a criminal offence.
Yes. Yeah.
Under Companies Act and the Company Directors Law, it's a criminal offence.
That's where Andy's uneducated with that sort of stuff completely, really.
Pardon?
He's uneducated with that sort of legal and lawful things.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, for the time being, like I said, if he'd have come to Elveston Castle where I did that presentation, I would have confronted him with it.
Yeah.
But he never turned up.
No, because he knows damn well you're going to confront him with that. That's why he didn't turn up. Well, that's what I've found out with Andy. If he knows you've got a question for him, he doesn't like your answer, he won't speak to you. Simple as that.
Well, he hasn't replied to what I've said in that diatribe that I put out there, other than, all right, so the man made a mistake. He uses two variations of his name, as did John Noah.
Yeah.
Now, it's a criminal offence. And what Andy doesn't understand was that the money for the donations to Mao Powerhouse Group Limited was actually being fed through Andy's own account, and then he was passing the money on to John Manoa to his personal account.
Yes, yeah,
that's
exactly.
A criminal offence.
Yeah, it's
that's
fraud.
Money laundering.
Yeah, it's laundering and fraud, bottom line.
Yeah. So, as I said, you know, I don't want to go on to a he said, she said with Andy. I don't want to go. I sit back and I know the facts. I will keep that, and one day he's going to bite his tongue.
Well, there is one thing I need to ask you about that, because I've heard him say, and I was like, I must ask Gordon that when I speak to him, that he said that you were told by no uncertain terms not to mention the Hampstead children, and you had threats.
Well, I'm not. You see, that's not. You know, other people are saying, "Oh, what about chemtrails? What about child abuse?"
Yeah.
That's not my expertise. My expertise is understanding about major crime and money laundering, which is what I've been quite good at. And I've got collaborated correspondence from money laundering experts who have come to me asking me for help.
Right.
And that's documented.
So, because what he's saying is, like, you've had a knock on the door by, you know, like police and stuff saying not to mention it. I mean, how true is that? Is that not true?
Well, that is true, because he doesn't understand how the system. Well, he does.
He does. He's just breaking it. He knows damn well. Yeah.
He knows damn well what happens, and if I put my name to it and I start to give away information, which may result in subjudicate.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Subjudicate is that then the authorities will probably lose a case in a court.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's information that I have, which he fully understands, or he'd be really sick if he didn't, is that if I start blabbing this all over Facebook, like I'm asking you, that this is a private conversation, only to inform you that, one, I know you're not stupid, I'm not stupid either, and I'm not being dragged into a tit-for-tat fight with somebody on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, don't blame you. Don't blame you.
And that's, look, I'm 67. I've had a good life.
Yeah.
No money in it, but...
well, I spoke to the Pendragons about, you see, because they spoke to you before, and then Gary and Nathan and all, they've all spoke to you, and they've all reassured me that you're a sound bloke. They don't, because I wasn't too sure, I'll be honest with you, Gordon, I wasn't too sure if he was a scammer and a fraud. And the reason, I'll be honest with you, because I watched the ITNJ bullshit, and I couldn't believe, and I couldn't believe you were sat there, and I was thinking, what the fuck are you doing sat amongst them idiots? I just didn't get it.
Let me put you to the point on the ITNJ. I know it's a bit of an overrun, because dinner's in there, and I've got to sign off some papers. However, let me tell you, before I went to the ITNJ, it was all about supporting Michelle Young.
Right.
Who was sat to my right.
Yeah.
And it was to give credibility evidence to some of the documents that were in Scott Gordon Young's files on their daughter's laptop.
Yeah.
Which I got some copies of. and I traced it to 788 790 Finchley Road.
Right. So it's more supporting Michelle than it was trying to get your story out amongst these fucking idiots.
Look. No, they wanted me to give a full side of Michelle's, but I was trying to get my stuff out.
Right. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Using a bit of order.
Now,
yeah, okay.
The panel that was listening, I checked them all out before I went, so I knew it was an actor's game. Do you understand?
Yeah. You knew the scammers. I know. Fiona Barnett, Wedge, and that lot.
I knew what I was going. Hey, trust me, the military trained me well. Eh?
Well, this is what I was trying to think, Gordon. I thought you can't be that stupid. Not all the stuff you've been covered, you know.
Stupid, don't worry. Anyway, I was mic'd up.
Right.
I had a lapel mic.
Right.
Unfortunately, somebody spotted it, and they said, "Hey, have you got a mic on?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Can you take it off, please, and switch?" I said, "Well, it's not switched on." And I said, "Just take it out, please." Anyway. They said, "Who's that guy over there with the camera?" I said, "My security to," and he filmed what I'm saying to cover my own ass.
That's the guy with the ponytail, isn't it? That guy.
Pardon?
That's the guy with the ponytail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did all my research. He's actually from Derby, so I did my research before I went down. I did a full dismantlement of, like I told you, know your enemy.
Yeah.
And look, it's all about an actor's game, and I know I'm dealing with some very dangerous people with long arms and deep pockets. So, yeah, they got plenty of money to infiltrate. So I'm not bothered about that. I said I'm reasonably well trained, and I got some good people. Next door neighbour's got an army the TA would like to have.
I bet.
So he drops a few geese over the fence every now and again, and pheasants and ducks and pigeons.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Definitely pheasant.
So anytime I need anything to make a big hole in a door, I can get it just in a few seconds.
Yeah, not a problem.
And he knows what's going on. So anyway, as I said, I'm not bothered. I put it out there because that's the best form of protection. Okay. As you know, the first thing that cops would have to do is reinstate my email account and see who I've been sending mail to, what the contents are in relation to what. So it's not going to go away. It's not going to be hidden under a table. And then the shit would come down on a lot of people who walk the corridors of power.
Yeah.
And that's why I do as best as I can. I've got nothing to hide. I know what I know can be corroborated in a court of law. And they've threatened me, and I said, "Do it. Take me to court, because you'll all go to jail, you thieving bastard."
Yeah. I was just scratching my head, Gordon. I had to speak to you because, you know, Belinda McKenzie, you had a complete, couple of hours interview with her, and I'm thinking, does he know what she's up to? And then
I knew,
and all these people, Brian Duesh, for example, you've sat in the UK column, I'm thinking, does he actually know these are fraudsters, these are scamming bastards?
Yes.
That's all right. As long as you know that, you know, as long as you know that, my conscience is clear, because I'm like, I have to tell this man.
I can assure you, when I went to the Moot, which was Brian Garish and the UK column and the British Constitution group, they didn't give me a platform. They gave me a couple of seconds, about 5-minute platform. And I called Brian Garish out. I said, "You're asking for contributions every month from people's bank accounts to go into." I said, "Why don't you sell shares?"
Yeah.
He shut up. He didn't know what to do. And then I noticed in the audience, Belinda McKenzie swooping in and out, taking bank account details from the audience.
Yeah.
And so, as I said, I knew before I went, and it's just that if you play the game, and that's what it is, a game, is that you have to be prepared to play your own game.
Yeah.
And know your enemy. Yeah. And the more information that I can give out to help people, I will. And it's about protecting people, as I've tried most of my life. You know, I really tried. But as I said, there's no money in it. My missus is sat here listening to this, and she can attest to it. We live a very, very strangled lifestyle.
As I say, I've looked into you, Gordon. I don't see no money going through any bank accounts or nothing. The only query I had was 20 grand. I was thinking, what's he done with that? You said you spent it on cameras and stuff.
The 20 grand came in 2 tranches of £10,000 each.
Yeah.
And because I've been a company director before in South Africa, I know that if you're going to get money like that without any conditions as a gift, because that's what it was, a gift, I went straight to the bank and I asked the bank to check on which accounts it had come from, whether it came from Greece or where.
Yeah, yeah.
And they told me it came from a UK bank account. So then I went and I spoke to Andy and I said, listen, I have to clear this up. Where did the money come from?
Yeah.
He told me categorically that it came from the sale of his wife's parents' house.
Yeah, I got no reason to disbelieve that. He did have a sale.
And that's
He's
what
got
I,
a lot of money
that's what
from
I
it.
said, is
Yeah.
that I had a duty to ensure that there was no intention of money laundering
Yeah.
from an account where Andy had already had a prison sentence.
Yeah, you know he's growing the weed. And, well, he did. I'm not accusing him now, but you know he used to grow
No,
weed and shit, you know.
he did his time.
Yeah.
He didn't split on the other guys. He's an honourable
Yeah,
guy for
yeah.
doing that. But at the same time, I've never entered into any criminal offences, and
So why
I'm
start
trying
now?
to be as clean as I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why start now, mate? I agree.
Well, as I said, I'm 67. I'm not a bank robber. They'll hunt people like Ronnie Biggs for 24 years.
Yeah.
And he stole 2.4. Oh, sorry, is it 4.2 million? No,
2.4 million, wasn't it? Which back then was a lot of money, but yeah.
And they hunted him for 25 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's it worth today? About 50 million.
Yeah.
Nobody mentions the Falkland 5 companies. They've cash burned 1.5 billion quid.
Wow.
And they haven't found a thimbleful of oil.
Shocking.
And
Shocking.
so why aren't the old federales smashing doors down there? I'll tell you why. Because there's politicians as executive directors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why. So that's why I fight what I'm doing, is that the camera gear will be used and has been used in the PowerPoint that I did at Elveston Castle to bring this to a next level. It's not a personal thing for doing whatever movies or investigation. This is to expose Finchley Road and the people who walk the corridors of power.
Okay, that'd be
and
good.
that's where I hope one day people like Gary Clark, who I shook hands with, and he said, the Dragons have got your back. I hope so, because I'm a genuine guy.
Well, you sound a genuine guy, Gordon. I've got no reason to sort of...
Well, anytime you want to see some documents that make your toenails curl, you come around and see me.
Do you know how to use... What are you on the phone or laptop or on the internet? How does it work for you?
Well, I've got laptops, but I just use my phone.
You use your phone all the time. It'd be worth get on the laptop and downloading the little Google Hangout app, because it's a bit like FaceTime on the phone, a bit like video calling.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier, because what you can do then is you can share documents then and show the world that they're there. You know what I mean? All this sort of shit.
If I show documents, I'm giving stuff away I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
That's why I give an opportunity for the other directors. They've been to my address, they can see the documents, they can see the correspondence I've got, and trust me, their eyes went wide open. Oh, I got correspondence. When you see it and read it,
yeah,
you'll see. You're welcome. You're welcome to come.
Well, I might set it off up, Gordon. I might come and see you one day, and just so we can get it out. Because I only work on evidence. I mean, everything someone tells me is hearsay. You're the same exactly. You're very much like me. You work on evidence only. You know.
You come and see me, mate. You know, you're more than welcome.
Excellent.
Make you a nice cup of tea or coffee, cappuccino, and come and have a sit down. I'll show you some correspondence to me that make your eyes curl.
I bet they probably would. I bet you though. They probably would.
Yeah, but if you give it away, you're forewarning the people that you want to look away.
I've got you. Understand. So if you start naming people and start getting it out there, people are going to start closing down stuff.
The people that threaten to take me to court, big lawyers in London.
Yeah. I
say, go on, do it, and then I'll release this, and they all shit themselves. They run away.
Yeah.
Because they know what I've got.
Okay. No, good. I'm good to have the conversation.
It's a pleasure to put things straight, but don't believe everything that people say.
That's just it. I'm getting so much crap off everyone else thinking about you. I'm like, well, that's why I've got to phone you and just speak to you myself, basically.
Yeah, even Joe's been to the police today.
Yeah, I mean, Flo Destroyer. Have you heard of Flo Destroyer? He's got questions for you as well. He wants to contact you. And I said, well, let me speak to him. He seems sound.
Yeah, you speak to me. I don't know who these people are. They use pseudonyms, and I don't particularly like that.
Yeah, no, it's Mike.
I put my full name, my full address. I hide from nobody.
Yeah, no, Mike's the same. His real name's Mike, and he'll quite happily tell you that himself. He's not. He only hides basically because of people on the internet. When he speaks to someone on the phone, he'll tell you his real name and that. He's not.
Yeah,
you know.
as I said, I've given evidence in major criminal cases before, and trust me, I'll stick my hand on a Bible anytime and tell the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make a fortune. I make nothing. We don't take a penny from the company account unless it's to travel on a tube or something like that.
Well, I couldn't find a donation. I thought you had a PayPal button, but I couldn't find it.
No, we're not like that. What we're doing is we're looking for victims of these mining companies and oil and gas companies who we will try to use the evidence that I've got to make a financial recovery and put 5% on top
commission off
of their recovery.
Okay, so you work a bit like a solicitor's, really, don't you, I suppose?
What we're trying to do is utilize the archive library that I've got to help thousands of victims, a bit like PPI, but like 200 million times worse. Where we can see, the other directors can see that there's potential for the company to go to a different level on as a financial reimbursement. Do you understand?
So in the basics is you sell information that you've already researched and got the evidence for to the right solicitor who needs that bit of evidence to help that witness out.
It's like we offered the information to Noel Edmonds.
But
its solicitor is only after one person to make a financial recovery.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
So he didn't want to take it, but he didn't hear about it because his solicitor blocked the information I've got. And trust me, I've got a lot more information on Lloyd's that if it was made public, there would be hangings.
Back in nowadays,
I've got it, and we'll use it as a company platform.
Okay. I'm just talking to you now, Gordon. I've just gone on the website, all right, and this is, I don't know if this is real or what, because it's company house, but it says dormant. Your company's dormant. Pandora's box.
It's not dormant. It's active. I've got the company accounts in front of me,
so
and it's
got
active
it wrong,
when you get money. Like some of the directors, they put 10 quid a month to activate keep the bank account flowing.
Got you.
To understand?
Yeah.
Is that it becomes active, and as soon as one penny goes out there, the company is active.
Right. Okay. So that 2017 where it says dormant, I don't know.
Yeah. But now, because the company accounts is from 2017 to 2018, I've got them in front of me. I have to sign that and hand it in tomorrow.
Right. Got you. Okay.
So that's for the financial year. And yes, it would have been dormant, but now it's active because one, Andy put the 20 grand in, which I don't deny, and it's been used to purchase the camera gear to progress the company.
Excellent.
The Finchley Road. So as I said, anybody can check it. Everything is checked by the auditor. We have full documentation from day one that the company was formed.
Okay, cool.
And I'll show it to you. I'll show you.
No, it's fine. Gordon, I totally believe you, mate. I don't.
Everything from a pen to a file holder, everything is run the correct way because that's the way it should be done. Not like John Winoa Mauer Powerhouse Group Limited, Limited, and then Limited.
Okay, good news.
No accounts filed. Anyway, as I said, you just give me a shout when you want to come round.
Yeah, I'll give you a text. I'll give you a phone maybe next week. So how you getting on? When's your next event? Yeah. When's your next event? Whatever it is.
Well, we've got to run through the file footage that's been taken on the cameras at Elveston and then do some editing and making some DVDs from that to go into our archive.
Okay.
When we'll take snippets of that and then splice it into a documentary.
Excellent. I'd like to come to that event. I'm sorry I couldn't. My mum and dad came over from Spain the weekend and totally shocked me. So I was like, oh shit, I meant to go in a derby, but I couldn't do it. So I was a bit gutted I missed your expose. But next time, I've got the next one.
You're more than welcome to come to the next one. As I said, I'm an open book. Anybody want to check me, you can read my military history, my commendations, and you will see I'm an open guy.
Excellent. Well, thanks for letting me phone you up, Gordon.
It's a pleasure, mate.
Right, have a good night.
Just get the truth out, that's all.
Exactly, mate. That's all we got to do is get the truth. Truth is what means, and the rest of it's just hoax and scams. We need to get rid of all that shit and just get the truth out there.
Trust me.
And we don't want you mixed up in all these hoax scams. Yeah.
It is the Pandora's box key to start riots. I don't want a window broken. Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want any any sort of recriminations. I want the police and the authorities
and the fraud squad to do the
bring
job
these
properly.
people to book,
Yeah,
as we all do.
yeah. Now, good on you. All right, excellent, mate. Have a good night. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, cheers, Bob.
Cheers, Gordon.
All right, bye-bye.
Wow, okay. Gordon Bowden seems legit, doesn't he? Interesting. Very interesting.